y'all, it's Megan with Fine Designs by Megan, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing the second version of the matte leopard tumbler. This is going to be the glitter version. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do. If you like this tutorial, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, just ask it down in the comments section. All the materials I used in this video will be down in the description box. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. If you watched the matte version, you can go ahead and skip to the 1 minute and 39-second marker. This is the same paint pattern that we did for that one. If you have not watched that one, you need to, but if not, you're going to go in with a dark spray paint and paint each end. Then you're going to go in with warm caramel from Rustoleum brand, and you're going to ombre up and down. And then you'll go in with the Smokey Beige, also from Rustoleum, and you're going to paint your middle area. Now, with the glitter version, your ombreing and your paint does not have to be perfect because you are going to be covering with glitter. So you can actually just paint your Smokey Beige, then your warm caramel, and then the darker brown. And then you're going to go in with a little bit of black, and you're going to lightly add a little bit to each end. Not a whole lot, just a tad bit to darken up those end pieces. I just preferred the look having a little bit of black, but you do not have to have it. I just did because I like it. And then we're going to go ahead and let it dry for about an hour to 2 hours, and then we'll start glittering. I'm going to be using quite a few different glitters on this, so I'm going to add a little bit extra epoxy, more than I would if I was just doing a simple ombre or anything like that. So I mixed up about 2.5 ml of epoxy, and I did warm up my cup with my heat gun before applying my epoxy. So I'm going to apply my epoxy on the cup, and then if you see what I'm doing, I'm going to start patting the epoxy, and it kind of makes like the epoxy look kind of rough looking. And I do that because if you do it where it's flat, when you go to apply your glitter, you can have some streaks in your glitter from like your smoothing lines. So if you pat it, this is just a trick, it will make it kind of rough looking, and then it'll cause it to where you won't have any lines when you go to apply your glitter. So that's just a little tip and trick if you don't want to have any glitter lines from the epoxy. So go ahead and do that, and then we'll start adding our glitter. First, we're going to be using Obsidian from Diamonds and Dust Glitter. It is a sparkly black, and it actually stays sparkly under epoxy. And we're going to lightly add it to our bottom, and we're going to add it to our top and ombre it down. Now, when I apply my first layer of glitter, I'm going to apply it very, very lightly. And then that way it's kind of, this is kind of going to be like your roadmap of your glitter is what I call it. So when you apply it lightly, you're going to allow the other glitters to also be able to stick a little bit within the color that you just laid. That way you're going to get a really nice ombre effect instead of having lines. So just apply it lightly, and then once we get the whole foundation done of all of our glitters on it, then we'll come back and we will actually thicken it up and make sure it's completely full coverage. So just lightly add a little bit of black to each end. Then we're going to go in with Coffee Run, also from Diamonds and Dust. It is a darker brown, and then on our second coat we'll add a lighter brown. So just go ahead and ombre it down. So tilt your cup to where the glitter is going to fall down onto your black, and then you're going to do it the other direction and let it fall down into where your warm caramel paint is, your lighter color. So just tilt it as it ombres down, and also just lightly sprinkle it on there onto both ends, and then we'll move on to our next color. The next color you'll be adding is called Barista. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's what it's called. And it's from Diamonds and Dust also. So this one's going to have, it's kind of like a mix. So it's going to have some browns and also some coppers in it. And you're just going to lightly sprinkle it down and up and toward the middle on both ends. And then on our second coat, we'll come in with like a more of a coppery color just to lighten it up. But for now, we're just going to sprinkle this one on, and then we'll move on to our next color. For the middle color, it's going to be called Drizzle. You guys, this is the prettiest glitter ever, and I'm not even kidding, and it is really like a beige color. I haven't seen a glitter quite like this one at any of the glitter suppliers that I ever use. So when you go to grab it, grab a couple just in case it runs out, because you're going to want it, I promise. And you're going to add it in the middle. Now, toward the middle of the cup, I'm going to add it on thicker, because you don't want any other glitters to get in the middle area. And then I'll just lightly sprinkle it down into the Barista so it ombres perfectly down in there. Now you don't have to go too heavy on those ends. Then we're going to go over the dark roast with Brunette. It is a lighter brown and more of a brown instead of like a dark brown. So just go ahead and add it over the dark roast. And then once you get that added on to both ends, just to lighten up that dark roast just a little bit, you're going to go in with Black Beauty. It is more of like a pure black. You can go in with Obsidian if you want. The Obsidian is more like kind of like a sparkly matter black. This one's just more of a pure darker black, but you can use either or. This one is Black Beauty, so I'm just going to sprinkle that on the end and ombre it up, make sure it's like fully covered. And then we're going to go back in with the dark roast added over the black or the brown that we had added. So you're going to go over the brunette again. Now you don't have to add as much as I am. I'm just trying to make sure that it is really ombre and you can't see any lines. You want it to flow perfectly. Then we're going to go in with the Barista, and we're going to add it over the Barista that we've already added. Make sure it's more full coverage and pretty ombre up into the Drizzle. And then we'll go in with the next color. Now we're going to go in with Fake Bake. It is like more of a coppery color, and we're just going to sprinkle it lightly over the Barista just to give it more of a coppery tone too and line it up just a tad. And I'm not going to go as far up into the Barista in the dark roast, but I'm just going to lightly add some on there. I hope that makes sense. Then we're going to go in with our Drizzle and give it more of the full coverage look. Make sure it's goes down into the Barista and the Fake Bake, and it blends really well, and it's ombre and no lines. And then once you're completely done in glitter, you're going to let your cup sit for 2 hours, and then we're going to start adding our glitter spots. So for the glitter spots, I'm going to mix up Barista, and then I'm going to mix up some of the Fake and Bake, and then we're going to add some of the dark roast. So that's what I'm going to use for my spots. Now I'm just eyeing it. It doesn't have to be a perfect measurement or nothing, but that's just what I'm going to do. And then for my mixture of my glue mixture, I'm going to get the caramel, chestnut paint, whatever you want to call it, and I'm going to mix it into some glue to make it tackier, and the glitter will stick to it more, and then we'll start adding all of our spots. So just like with the matte cup on our spots, there is no rhyme or reason on how you do your spots. For me, I just grab a thinner paintbrush and I just dab on my spots. Remember, leopard is not perfect, so if you need to eye some leopard print to get an idea of how you want your spot shapes to be, for me, I literally just go in there and I just smack them on there, different shapes, all of that. And you're not going to want to add too many spots at one time, because you're going to want to put your glitter on because you don't want your adhesive to dry up. So I do some thicker spots, I do some thinner spots, I add my glitter on there, and then I go and do the rest. And so once your spots are completely done, let your cup sit for about 30 minutes. Let those spots dry for those 30 minutes, and then we'll start adding our black on there. Now for the black spots, I'm going to grab my tacky glue. This is a glue that I just started using. I found it at Michael's and I wanted to try it, and it works really good as an adhesive. So I like it, and I'm going to add a little bit of the black charcoal paint into my glitter adhesive, and we're going to start making our black outlines on our spots. Again, just like with the matte cup, there's no particular way to do this one. So for me, I like to do some spots with the black going all the way around or almost all the way around. I don't ever make them where it's completely circled around the spot. You can, I don't. Then I do some spots with like 3 black areas, 2 black areas. I'll do one with a dot and then do a little bit around it. And then for my black regular spots, because you're going to want to add black individual spots between some of the coppery spots, okay? That's going to give you more of a real leopard look. So there's no real particular reason or way of doing this. You can just do it however you want. This is just how I do it. Now, you don't want your black to be super thin and completely match all the way around, because that's not how leopard is. Leopard's going to have thicker areas of black. They'll have thinner areas of black. So just make it however. Doesn't have to be perfect. For me, I just literally dab it. I just dot it and thicken it up. I don't paint lines because there's not painted lines. They're kind of different shaped. I don't really know how to explain it. Just, I guess, watch and learn, I guess. So anyways, that's all I'm going to do. And then you don't want to add too much paint on without glittering, because you don't want your paint to dry before you add your glitter. So once you get all of it done and completely glittered, let your cup sit for about an hour. Make sure it's completely dry, and then we'll go in with our next part. Once it's completely dry, you're going to get a dry brush, brush off any excess glitter. Make sure there's no black onto your beige. You're going to seal it with triple thick spray. I do epoxy my tumbler twice, and then I sand it down. And so, like right now, I have sanded my cup. It's had its second layer of epoxy. I'm applying the third layer of epoxy. This will be your final layer. This is where you're going to want to add a name or decal if you're wanting to do that. This will be right before now. And then I'm just going to go in with a fast set epoxy. You can use whatever epoxy you want. I prefer fast set. So if you are using a thinner base epoxy, you're going to probably do a couple more layers of epoxy. Because I do go in with fast set and mine is thick, I only use about 3 to 4 layers of epoxy on this cup. So once you get your epoxy completely applied, you'll go in with your torch, pop all your bubbles, and you'll be done. That's it. That's how easy this cup is. So I hope you guys like this tutorial. I hope you guys love this cup as much as me. I fell in love with this cup, and I almost kept it for myself, but I didn't. And yeah, that's it. So if you have any questions, please ask them down in the comments section. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do. If you like this tutorial, give me a thumbs up. Remember, all of the glitters that I used, which was quite a bit, I will link them all down in the description box with a code to save you some money over at the Diamonds and Dust shop. And yeah, there'll be a few other discount codes, so keep an eye out down there. All right, that's enough for me. Bye, y'all.